Um, so we talked about needs, right? So what are we trying to prioritize first? Like I look at it like this. I think center's a need. I think left guard is a need. Edge rusher, obviously, we've talked about it how it's a need because you don't got many edge rushers on the team right now, so you got to go there. You're gonna have to replace Alex Anzalone if he doesn't come back, which I doubt he comes back. You're probably gonna have to make an addition at safety. What do you do at the backup quarterback spot? Does Dave Montgomery get traded? These are all questions, and this is why Brad Holmes has a full plate on for his offseason, to be honest, because there's so many things, and then you need depth at running back. Like there's some depth that you can get there, but you get that in the draft or a UDFA or free agency, like cheap options. But there's so many things that he can go. So, what are your top three needs in your opinion? Like even if it's like
Yeah.
free agency or it's draft and free agency mixed. I'm just trying to get where you're at.
I mean, just by position, I would say number one, center, and then the next two, if you want to rank them however you want to rank them, but I'd go left guard and edge. I think those are my top three positions that I want. And
Yeah.
obviously, tackle is hanging in the balance with what happens with Taylor Decker. But, as we kind of just talked about, if there may not be some elite option, or maybe it's a first round pick or a second round pick at left tackle if Taylor Decker retires. But for me, I think center number one, absolutely, because that's the main cog really of the offensive line. It's going to be what you hope can help you not only in the post snap, but in the pre snap. And I think it just is the most important position on the offensive line. And then, kind of 1A, 1B with edge and left guard. I think edge is a huge uh, area that this team could improve on. I don't think they got really nearly what you need out of really the defensive line as a whole. And honestly, on the defensive line, and I probably haven't said this enough, the defensive line big step might be Aleem McNeil just having to get back to an all-pro caliber. Because if that happens, I think that would free up a lot on the edge. But so maybe I'd rank that third and prioritize left guard, just especially with what we just talked about last segment with left tackle being a question mark and maybe more difficult to sure up for next year. So I'll go center one, left guard two, and edge three.
Yeah, I think so. This is interesting. I'll get to my three, but then I ran our podcast together with the help of AI, and it gave us three of the most things we talked about. So that's an interesting one. But my three are center, left guard, and edge, like you just said. And I think center is the biggest one because we don't know what Graham Glasgow is. And honestly, we should have had a good center last year. They got caught with their pants down, and you kind of screwed the pooch. And when you had Tate Ratledge, next to Graham, and then you were starting Kingsley Egwakon in Minnesota, it's like, okay, you do need a center. Left guard, I can't count on Christian Mahogany to be a starter. So, I mean, I know people like Miles Frazier. I know they like, those, but I
I
need to
think those guys can be great depth. Like
I need
you
I
add
need
a legit left guard. Now those guys, they're free lottery tickets basically. Like you don't need anything out of them, but if you have to turn to Mahogany as a backup, that's probably a really good option.
yeah, I need to insulate my line with veterans, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
I looked at Mahogany last year, struggled big time.
You did.
And he struggled against certain defensive tackles more than others. Like he struggled against like the kid from Minnesota, Jonathan Allen. Struggled with a lot of other guys. Like he struggled last year to the point where he was replaceable. Graham Glasgow struggled at times. He looked like he was slow. Like he looked like he should retire. But yeah, center is a huge portion. Left guard's a huge portion because like I look at left guard and I go, okay, if Taylor Decker does leave, right? If Taylor Decker does decide to retire, I need to make that interior really good. Like whoever is on the left side, whoever's on the right side, let's make the interior better. I feel like Jared Goff is a quarterback that if he gets pressure up, it's like any quarterback. If you get pressure up the middle, you're dead. You're done.
And he's
So
pretty good, honestly, at the subtle pocket movement, which you can
yes,
get more around if it's only a step here or there to, avoid the pass rush. But yeah, if there's a guy coming right at you, most quarterbacks are going to, especially
See,
Goff, is going to be dumped.
I love when you get all spiteful, James, because I hear you all the time going at like, "Oh man, we should have had a mobile quarterback. Look at all the mobile quarterbacks on Super Bowl." It's like the art of a quarterback is
Josh
not
Allen gets sacked like 9 times in a game because his
Joe
offensive line.
Burrow getting sacked 8 times, holding onto the ball for like what 4.5 seconds. Look, the art of being a quarterback is not taking the sack when you get pressured. That's the art of a quarterback. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't understand it. Like one of the quarterbacks that I love to watch because I think he's older, but he understands the game is Joe Flacco. Like he'll get rid of that ball really quickly, just like Jared Goff. Stafford's the same way. Like they don't need a lot of time. They're just processing it. Boom, 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 boom,
1
boom.
year, 1 million, Joe Flacco, backup quarterback to come win a Super Bowl in Detroit.
That would be sick. It's funny because do you know
I'd
who
like
led
that,
the? Yeah, that actually would be a good idea because if you want a backup, you
I'll
want Joe
trust him for a
Flacco.
game or two of this offense, and then he's
I
just
would
a
trust.
great
I would trust.
veteran Super Bowl winner in the locker
I would
room.
trust him with 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
The guy goes in there and win. I mean, he won games with the Cleveland Browns. Like, get out of here. But I go back to like this. This is funny. You know who led the league in time to throw? So they held onto the ball long.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. It wasn't even close.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wasn't even close. I think the next closest was JJ McCarthy, but it wasn't even close. Like Caleb Williams held onto the ball more than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life.
Rookie. And hey, to Caleb's credit, he's an incredible athlete and he can make some of those plays work. And that probably is his strength, honestly, because I don't know that he's ever going to be this high percentage guy. I mean, he was 58% or something this year. I'm not a huge Caleb guy still, but I'll eat a little bit of crow that I mean, I think he still had overall a good season because he can hit a lot of big plays and he's still we'll see if it ends up being sustainable in terms of he hardly ever turns the ball over. And that could be some luck element stuff into that. But yeah, I mean, he holds on to the ball forever. That's why I think there's one, and he's a great athlete. So that the whole Bears offensive line was elite thing. And pass pro, probably not as much, although their run game obviously was pretty effective. So
it'll eventually come back to haunt them when they play teams that can actually rush the passer and get after him. I mean, when teams got after Caleb Williams, it was a different kind of
the
thing.
Lions did really well against them. Even
exactly. So it just
made like 0 points after 3
quarters. It just goes to show you, like if you get after him, you can really get to him, and he holds onto the ball. So that's what I'm saying. Like you see the new quarterbacks nowadays, like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, they hold onto the ball a lot. See guys like Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Flacco. Those guys, they get rid of the ball so quick. Like you're like, okay, if I could just give you 2.5 seconds, that's it.
Yeah,
you're good. So that's kind of the way where it goes.
Sam Laporta back. So we have Laporta and St. Brown in the slot if we need. Laporta was such a big loss for this team last year.
That's another uncertainty that we have.
Like, offense.
It's such an uncertainty with tight end. Like obviously we know Sam Laporta, but how is he gonna come back? Like, is it gonna be a reoccurring issue? Is something good? We don't know. Brett Holmes hasn't spoke about it. I think he will speak at the combine, so it'll be interesting to hear him talk. But we miss Sam Laporta in not just the passing game, but the run game too.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand how great he was in the run game. I think that was what you saw, the run game just plummet when he left. I don't think that's a awful correlation. But it was interesting.
Wait. You didn't think Anthony Berkser and Horton and
whatever
who's the other guy?
Giovanni Ricky,
him, and then there was even someone else in there that I'm missing. But man, yeah, it's actually crazy how bad the state of the tight ends got.
You didn't lose just one tight end; you lost two tight ends. You lost your 2 top tight ends, so it's impossible for you to kind of, I think, get by with your 3rd tight end, like unless you're the Baltimore Ravens where you got 3 high-level tight ends. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. It was interesting. I took all the podcast notes that we had from the transcripts. I put in AI. This is what it came up with. The biggest need that we talked about was guard. We talked about it. It didn't say left guard, but it said guard.
Okay.
Center was second.
Okay.
I think
Pretty
I
accurate.
think I think it's because we were like, so like, yeah, we do need a center. Like, I don't think it's really that high of a talk.
True.
And then the third one was interesting because it was defensive tackle, because we talked about defensive tackle. So that's interesting. It was also
honestly, if you really look at it, the biggest need on the defensive line, as I just talked about, it could. I probably would make that case is the thing that the Lions defensive line needs most next year is for Aleem McNeil to have a big time year, because I really think that's just such a game changer on the defensive line as a whole. And we got basically like Tyreek Williams, a lot of the metrics and some of his win rates, and I think he actually had a pretty solid year. But we
yeah, he
didn't
did.
get like any big time disruption up the middle. Like Aleem McNeil's pressures, I think, plummeted basically last year. We just didn't get any force up the middle, and if we can get that, Aiden Hutchinson just had 14 and a half sacks basically with no one, especially no one up the middle, and then one guy out of like 3 or 4 that played off the edge. So I think Aleem being, because I don't know that we're gonna get another guy on the defensive line unless we go defensive line in the first round, which could happen. But in terms
Or
of
second round.
big time, or second round, but just in
Yeah.
terms of like a big time talent, I still think Aleem's probably going to be our second most talented player on the defensive line. So him really stepping up, I think, could be as big as anything for our defensive or our whole entire defense next year.
Yeah, I think that too. So it's interesting what AI said, because I just said, let me plug it all in, see what they say. Whatever it says, it said guard, center, and then defensive tackle. Because I think we talked about defensive tackle a lot, especially with Roy Lopez being a free agent and all that jazz. So that was interesting